Hi everyone, sorry I can't be with you today. A bit of misscheduling on my part, but never mind. Here's what I would have done if I had managed to be here today. My PLG was to do with my Year 9 technology class. The context of that is that we have our technology classes for one semester, and in that semester, the two terms, they do a different subject specialism each term. They have mentor classes which take up a week at the start and end of each term, where they work on general aspects of technology and also presenting their learning back to their peer group. I in Year 9 technology get them making a game, 2D computer game. We use Construct 2, which is great software. You can pick it up for free, but we have a site license. And we cover in the course the achievement objectives of research, brief development, planning, outcome development and evaluation, and subject specialism. Should be pointed out that research actually isn't an AO, it's kind of a made up thing, but it fits in with our programs and leads into the senior programs reasonably well. So there were some issues with this. The poor link between the mentor group and the subject specialism. They do the mentor thing for a week, and then they go off and do their subject specialism, and then they come back, and there was never a connection between them. In terms of doing all of those achievement objectives in one term, it's a miserable business. It was lots of, the whole process needs to be fitted in. So that's research and looking at other options and thinking about the outcome, doing the brief development, coming up with some conceptual designs, then actually making the thing, a little brief window in the middle, and then evaluating that outcome. And it's just a massive rush and really quite awkward. And technology is quite an involved process anyway, of brief development. So the documentation kind of reflected that. So in some ways we were seeing relatively poor outcomes. I thought a lot of students still, despite everything, would always come up with something that's high quality. Some weren't, and it just felt like it could be done better. And the assessment against those achievement objectives often felt somewhat shallow, like I was giving them a mark. It's like, yeah, this is the level they were working at, but when I specifically look at the assessment schedule, it's like, well, yeah, did they really get that? It's what they would have got if I'd given them enough time to get it done. So quite a lot of issues really, and it's endemic across the Year 9 course. So I looked at student voice, I observed them, I had some organised discussion where I sat down with individuals and discussed it with them and got some other feedback as well. No huge surprises. The weak students were like, what is all this stuff? It just seemed like a lot of document that they had to deal with. The booklet is wordy and not always clear about what to do. Quite a lot of stuff that is beside the point, not really relevant to their actual learning. All students enjoyed doing the practical side of making a game. It's always a fun thing to do. So on the whole, yeah, they liked making things. They didn't like the documentation and development process. No surprises there. That's pretty much how technology works. And it's a challenge that we always have, is to try and make the documentation side of things meaningful, the brief development side of things meaningful. And that's something we've been certainly working on in the department at senior levels as well. And as an aside, we're always trying to say, okay, rather than just we're doing this documentation, we're doing this brief development because it's in the standard, is actually trying to relate that to real world situations. So yeah, the outcomes match that student feedback. Some shallow stuff. Just some of it was good. Always students are going to come up with some good outcomes, but a lot of it was problematic. And it was interesting at the end of term 1, all the students came back from their other subject specialisms, and I think every single student, when they stood up to do their presentation to the mentor group, said that they had not had enough time. It had just been a rush, and their outcomes are either incomplete or not to the standard they would have been able to make. So that's a bit of a red flag, really. So I wanted to look at the documentation side of things and make that just much more usable. That was my big plan. I'll kind of skate over this bit a little in terms of what I actually did. I did try to tidy up the booklet a lot. I used the tools document outline and then tidied up the headings so that it had this nice navigation menu to work through on the left hand side there. I did do a reasonable amount of exemplars on Moodle particularly about what good brief development writing would look like and what good conceptual designs would look like. I felt that was something that we had lacked in the past. Problem was, as I got all of that in place and got it changed, we decided to change a lot of stuff in Year 9 technology, and it was a change driven by Sheena Prankard. It was a really good change. It would have been even better if it had been a little bit earlier, so I could have not put so much time into what I'd done elsewhere. So the changes that we made were basically to cut out a lot of the assessment in that one term, so that it was just one achievement objective, well, two achievement objectives. One which was the either the brief development or the outcome development, and the other one being the actual game itself, the subject specialism game. So just the main thing was just the time that gives, and the ability to actually deal with the learning in a more effective way. And of course, I was able to reuse a large part of what I've already done. There was just some stuff which I just needed to adapt really. So the results, yeah, I got better results. Whether that is solely due to the changes I made or whether that's due to variance, we get a huge amount of variance in these Year 9 classes, I find. The character of each class is massively different, and the ability levels as well. I don't know why. The actual games they made themselves, if I was to show you a few of those, which I would if I was there with you, just better, you know, just more thoroughly done, more neatly done, more complete and more accurate. And I guess it's anecdotal as well, but there's just a lot less rush to get things done, and the classroom actually felt more purposeful as a result. Everyone knew what they were doing, were much more on task, and were aiming towards a goal. So the next steps, the documentation side of things still isn't right. It's still a bit too splintered. It's going to cost many documents rather than being one brief now. I think we need to pull that back. I need to make some decisions about how to balance how the students, how much choice the students get about what their outcomes will look like versus structuring it more for them. And of course, there's a whole new digital technologies curriculum arriving in a year and, well, just over a year, and that's going to change everything. So I'll probably be able to reuse quite a lot of this, but who knows what's actually going to happen. So thank you for listening.